Hi, this is Patty Nass here with Andrew McMillan. We're from REH CPA. And today we want to talk a little bit about something that often small business owners can see on financial statements. So sometimes they'll see gross profit. And I'm sure that a lot of them may not really understand what that means.
Yeah, so gross profit is a pretty important KPI, key performance indicator I like to go over with small business owners. So gross profit is basically your sales less your cost of goods sold. So then what are cost of goods sold? So cost of goods sold is all of those variable costs associated with producing the revenue, producing that product, that service that you're selling. So variable costs, these costs fluctuate based on the amount of sales you have. So for example, if you're in retail and you make pants and you sell pants, then you're going to be paying for fabric, zippers, thread, the amount of fabric, zippers, and thread that you pay for that you have to buy is dependent upon how much sales you have. So those kind of go, the more sales you have, the more of that you have to buy. So they vary as the months go on, as the year goes on. So cost of goods sold are all of these expenses that you have really directly related to producing your income, whatever you're selling. And they vary. They're called variable costs. So it's definitely something important to look at. Obviously, these aren't all the costs that you have, but it's a good starting point to understand, like, what is my gross profit margin? What's my gross profit percentage? Because it helps you kind of drive decision making in your business going forward.
Can you give us, an example of why it would be important to be knowing what your gross profit is?
Yeah, so I like to monitor it monthly. Every month, as a small business owner, you should be monitoring your gross profit margin, your gross profit percent, and what it can help you do. One of the biggest things is guard against inflation, and then even just set your prices. So, for example, let's say you're looking at your gross profit margin over the last 3 months, and you see it's gone down like 3%. So I would want to understand, why has it gone down 3%? Have I had less sales? Have my sales stayed the same? If my sales have stayed the same and my gross profit margin has reduced, it sounds kind of elementary, but now I have 3% less profit. So I want to understand why. So then I start looking at my cost of goods sold, like using the pants example, has my fabric gone up? Has the price of fabric gone up? Has there been some inflation in my costs that are now eating into my gross profit percentage? And if there has, well, then now I can make a more informed decision about how to go forward. Do I need to increase my prices? Do I need to call my fabric supplier and negotiate a reduced rate, figure out a way to maybe get that price back down to where I need it to be? That's one of the biggest reasons I like to look at gross profit margin, is understanding what your costs are to producing your product, your service, what your income is. Because then from there, once you understand what your profit is, well, now you can understand how much you can afford for rent, utilities, insurance, all of these more fixed costs that you're going to have no matter how much your sales are. So it's really just one step towards a larger picture of understanding your financial picture better. But it really can be, like I said, a KPI, a key performance indicator, to make sure that you're staying profitable and producing a level of profit that can afford all of these expenses you're going to have going forward.
So it sounds like every small business owner should really have this knowledge and be on top of this gross profit and their gross profit percentage, so that they can make sure all their fixed costs are all, well being taken care of, and be able to stay on top of being profitable as a business as a whole.
It is. Every business is a little bit different, but gross profit margin is a very important thing to look at for anybody who has inventory, anybody who's making something to sell it, any goods, because you're going to have material costs, you're going to have things that you are buying. So it's a little bit different of a business than maybe your service business. But those are all things that we like to work through with small business owners, helping them understand their business, understand what KPIs they should be looking at on a monthly basis to remain profitable, and really just secure their financial future going forward.
Yeah, this sounds like some good information for some small business owners. Thanks so much, Andrew. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. REH CPA.